The ABC's attempt to diversify its reporting by shifting 75% of its workforce out of Ultimo is underway.
No one's local like the ABC. We're so local, we're all around the country. And so in Sydney, it made sense for us to have an expanded presence here in Parramatta, on the edge of Greater Western Sydney, certainly to connect better with the people that are living here. The New South Wales newsroom is moving out here, so over the next weeks and months, there'll be a greater presence as we do that. You'll see where we are now, there'll be the newsroom. We'll have a presentation area that looks back towards Sydney. And down on the promenade, we'll have a TV studio. We will do the 7 p.m. news that can be seen from the promenade, as well as another radio studio.
Well, we speak a lot on this show about how the ABC has been obsessed with niche inner city issues which do not always impact mainstream Australians. So in my view, this is a wholly good move. But keep in mind, Parramatta is still a massive city. It might feel like another country to those journos who need to relocate from Ultimo, but it is hardly a rural or regional move. And that's exactly where the ABC should be investing. They have overinvested in their TikTok division, sacked positions such as their political editor, and this week, Media Watch host Paul Barry gave them a serve for failing to cover the Bondi stabbing properly.
So why was the ABC's TV coverage second-rate? A lack of firepower, resourcing and experience are among the issues being raised internally, with some news staff furious at a lack of urgency and breaking news culture at the news channel, and another blaming low morale and skeleton staffing at the weekend, telling us,
"You can't keep on doing everything with nothing."
And this led Barry to conclude that it may not even be worthwhile for the ABC to run a rolling news channel.
In fact, we wonder how the ABC can justify having a dedicated news channel if it can't do better on breaking stories like this.
Well, we happen to think the ABC should have a dedicated news channel, but we agree the Bondi stabbing should be a resourcing wake-up call. How can management justify running a TikTok division which publishes ridiculous memes when it cannot even cover a major news event properly? So, James, you kind of touched on this issue as well about journalists from the inner city not necessarily being in touch with the issues outside. So this is probably a good thing, a much needed thing that they've opened.
I would say that just because they're moving to Parramatta doesn't change the staff. The staff is still talking to each other. They're still only hearing other ABC journalists take on things. They're still talking to their friends and family back in Ultimo and hearing those perspectives. Like, maybe now that they're in Parramatta, they might actually interact with a member of the working class in a way that doesn't involve the exchange of money. I doubt it for a lot of them, but maybe that would actually start to rub off and they might start to think of issues that are actually affecting the Australian people. But if they're still the same people, it's still going to be the same reporting and it's still going to be the same culture, which bleeds into your other point there about TikTok. When you have basically the staff-run collective there, they only want to spend time on TikTok. They only think of TikTok as the future of journalism. They don't want to break the news like they used to. Unless that culture changes, we're still going to see stuff like the Bondi massacre happen at the expense of good reporting when they prioritise TikTok.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Darren, what do you make of this news and the way that they are? I think it is quite a noble pursuit to try and diversify the reporting. They'll obviously try and recruit journalists from within the area, and some journalists will have to live in the area rather than recruit. Do you think it will have a broader impact, or are you a bit sceptical, like James, that it will bleed through?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think it should be valued. Western Sydney, as you point out, it's now the third largest economy in Australia. It's got the single largest Indigenous population in the nation, bigger than SA and Victoria. I think moving into that community will hopefully give them a way to attract new talent with a different experience and worldview. That better reflects a large part of what the ABC audience should be. It won't solve their problems, but I think you should value any move that they make to make the ABC represent the diversity of viewpoints and experiences across the Australian nation. It should hopefully help them rediscover their community bearings. I think in terms of it's going to require a lot more than that though to inculcate a breaking news culture and a sense of urgency, as Paul Barry said in that clip that you ran. I don't think they've got a resourcing issue per se. They're very well funded. I think they've got a resource allocation issue, and you alluded to that as well, pumping loads of money into, hiring lots of journalists to do TikToks, and then having very experienced journalists leave the broadcast. I think there were some very bad moves have been made over the last couple of years, and that they need to take a look at. But look, this is certainly a good step in the right direction in terms of getting closer to the community and better representing diversity of viewpoints across Australia, so it should be applauded.